So, good afternoon. It's about 2 o'clock on Monday, June 19th. I'm here in my living room, and this is my first video. And I don't know how well this computer's going to work today. Excuse me while I turn the fan off. But I've been thinking about doing a podcast now for a long, long time. This is my crochet corner of the couch. And I'm sitting here and I just want to sit and crochet, and I'm working on this blanket. I want to talk to you while I'm working on it. See, it's pretty big. It's 12, 15 round squares. It started out to be 12, 14 round squares, and then the joining round is join as you go, and that is the 15th round of the squares. So this is just finishing up that last round, and then I plan to put the border on and give this to my daughter's best friend who saw my daughters that I had made in much the same color scheme, and she asked me to make her one, or asked Grace to ask me to make her one. But anyway, I'm Deborah Alexander, and this is my new podcast channel, Deb's Artsy Life. My daughter gave me the nickname Deb, and my daddy always called me Deb, or as I grew up anyway. So it's Deb's Artsy Life because I do have a wonderful artsy home and a wonderful artsy life. I paint with watercolors and mixed media. Um, in fact, I started out painting when I was just a child, or not painting, but drawing. And I've been doing that kind of visual art for my entire life. And in 2016, I taught myself to crochet using YouTube videos. And if you're watching this, you can see I crochet kind of strangely. I actually yarn over, like I pick up the yarn and put it over the hook. But I think I did that. I learned that way to compensate for my wrist. My right wrist gave me some problems a few years ago. So I think the reason I crochet like this is so that the right wrist doesn't have to work too awfully hard. So I've kept it that way. I've tried to learn to crochet, in different ways, like picking up the yarn with your finger and those types of things, but it's not comfortable for me, so I just crochet this way, and it works for me. I recently learned to knit. No, I'm learning to knit. I'm learning to knit. So let me grab something here and show you. By the way, in this corner back here, between the couch and the wall, I have a mess, a crochet mess. This is my whip pile and my yarn stash pile, and then I also have a big closet that is absolutely full of yarn. But here is one of my first knitting projects. It's just a garter stitch, and I love this yarn. It is Serenity Chunky Candy, and so I work on that, but I'll tell you how my knitting came to be. I've wanted to learn for years, and I actually wanted to learn to knit before I ever thought about crochet. And I, thought about taking a class, and then I wouldn't do it. Well, I was at the Blue Ridge Fiber Festival in Sparta, North Carolina, which is about 30 minutes from me. And by the way, I live in the southwest corner of Virginia. And I grew up in North Carolina, and the North Carolina line is very close to me. So, USA, Virginia. Today is Juneteenth. As you know, it's June 19th. and I have a holiday. So I'm on holiday from work today, which is fabulous. My husband's not home, and so I'm able to record this podcast without being terribly embarrassed. I've wanted to do a podcast for a very long time, but I've been so frightened of recording myself and of talking in my Surrey County accent, but it is what it is. So I want to be part of the yarn community, and I love to share. And being an introvert, I don't do a lot of social things, and so this is a way that I can share with a lot of people without leaving home. But anyway, about the Fiber Festival. Back to that. I did go do my hair before this podcast. So anyway, the Fiber Festival, I went to that, and this wonderful lady, I buy yarn from her. Well, I just met her last year. I went to the Fiber Festival, which is a lovely festival with animals and yarn and all things yarny goodness. And so there's a lady from, oh, I can never remember where she's from, Maryland. And she comes and sets up every year, or she has for the past 2 years, and she hand spins and hand dyes her own yarn. And it is absolutely gorgeous. The colors are so many, just bright and beautiful. And so I bought some yarn from her last year, and she was there again this year. And um, she knits and crochets. And so we were talking about it, and I was telling her I wanted to learn to knit. And so she handed me this beautiful pair of clover, hang on, Takumi, Takumi. I don't know if you can see that. But these are number 9, no, wait a minute. They're 9 millimeter, number 13 knitting needles. And she gave me this Woolies Thick and Quick line brand ball of yarn and said, I want you to have these and I want you to learn to knit. So she just gave them to me. And I just grabbed her and hugged her with tears in my eyes because I just thought that was so kind and so sweet of her. And so I have knitted this scarf. Now, this is not the prettiest color of green I've ever seen, but it worked up pretty nicely. And you can see I'm really a beginner, but I've gotten this far, and I'm gonna finish it and use up the entire ball of yarn. But I don't enjoy knitting as much. Well, here's the thing. I want to learn to knit, but I don't want to take time away from my crochet because I dearly love to crochet. And my absolute passion is granny squares. I am nuts about grannies. As you can see, the granny stitch is my favorite. This was one of the first things I made when I first learned. This is out of sugar and cream cotton. So I just crochet every evening. I sit on this couch in this spot and crochet like mad while I watch TV. And I've never enjoyed anything as much as I do crochet. It is so soothing to me. It is so therapeutic. I learned in 2016, and I was just bound and determined. And I'm so thankful for YouTube because it has just been. I have watched YouTube ever since. And if I'm here by myself, I'm just watching YouTube videos because I love the yarn community and the painting community on YouTube. I love to watch those videos. And I just discovered a new podcaster. Well, she's not new, but I just discovered her, so she's new to me. Her name is Sarah, and her podcast is called It Is a Sarah. And I absolutely love her. And one thing I love so much about her is And I just did this wrong because I was talking. Hang on a second. I love that she loves granny squares as much as I do. Um, there's not a lot of podcasters that I've found that love granny squares and the granny stitch like I do. And I mean, I grew up in the 70s, but nobody that I knew crocheted or even knitted. Um, there was a lot of, my grandma sewed and my aunt sewed and made quilts, and there was a lot of talent there. My mother was a great piano player, and played the piano for the church I grew up in. But anyway, there was not anybody who crocheted or knitted, so it never occurred to me that I would ever want to do such a thing. But so, I mean, I don't have that 70s thing with granny squares that some people have. It's like you say granny square, and I don't know, it just brings up these connotations with people. But I love them. I love them because they're, it's just a stitch that is so wonderful. And you can combine so many colors, and you can do different, you can do flowers, you can do plain grannies, you can make these wonderful pillows with just one big granny. You can do a big endless granny square blanket like that. I mean, there's just so much you can do with a granny square, and you have such a feeling of accomplishment when you make this tiny granny square because you've made something and it's complete, and you feel like you've accomplished something, and you can add to it. It can be as big as you want it to be. And then you can turn it into a blanket. You can turn it into whatever. A bag. I've made granny square bags. I don't have any now with me, but there's so many things I want to share with you. And most of them are um, crochet related, I'd say. Um, I couldn't decide what I wanted this channel to focus on, so I'm not going to let this channel focus on anything. It's just going to be my artsy life. And so I want to share so much with you. I want to share my kitchen that we just remodeled. I designed the backsplash, and I designed it around the granny square. I mean, it's bright colors, and so anyway, I'll show that to you in another episode. But I want to show you my yarn stash. I want to show you all my paints and all my art supplies. I want to share this beautiful home with you. This is my second marriage, and my husband um, is very artsy. His thing is the yard. We have a beautiful yard, and he creates these incredible gardens, and um, he he's retired, so he's much older than me. He's retired, and he keeps the house spotless most of the time so that I can just play on the weekends. I have a full-time job. So this podcast is going to be a um, a fun thing. I have a full-time, very demanding job, and so anyway, my husband keeps everything going so that on Saturdays I just crochet or paint or play. I just play. I like to read. Um, I used to like to read. I still like to read, but you know what? You can't read and crochet at the same time, or at least I can't. So this is what I do, and I could spend so many hours, and time just flies when you're crocheting. So, like at lunch, I come home. I only work like less than a mile from home. And guess what? I have a Hobby Lobby between me and my work. So I have a Hobby Lobby in less than a half mile from my home. I mean that. So I come home at lunch and I watch Cinnamon Stitches almost every day. That's what I do. I love Cinnamon Stitches. I mean, she is so different. Um, but I love her laugh, and I love her joy um, that she gets from crocheting and from yarn. And so every day I come home and I can't wait to watch the next Cinnamon Stitches episode. I also watch, oh, there's so many that I watch. I have like a list of subscriptions. And I love YouTube and I want to be part of that community. And I think I've got a lot that I want to share, just like I enjoy watching other people. And so welcome to my podcast. I hope you'll like this video. I hope you'll subscribe. I am new to this and I am totally inexperienced. And I don't know, when I look at this video, it looks all fuzzy. So if it's fuzzy, what are you going to do? It's just going to be fuzzy. I'm just going to record these and do the best I can. I'm not going to go back and watch them. I'm not going to edit them because I posted a video a while back and I was freaking out. I mean, I couldn't deal with it. I couldn't deal with the fact that my face and my voice and my video was up on YouTube and I kept going to check and I kept thinking, well, what if I looked stupid? And I don't have a ton of self-confidence, but this is something I've wanted to do for a very long time and I can't get it out of my mind. So even with my country accent and, you know, my total lack of experience with videotaping, well, I guess that's an old word. I'm old. I'm 53. But I figure, I also watch She's Got Yarn too, Nancy. Love her. And her heart attack, it was really jarring to me. And, we don't know how much longer we're going to have on this earth. Um, and in the real scheme of things, sharing with people and, you know, doing what you're passionate about and doing the hard things, doing the things that I'll tell you what Sarah says. I love her. You've got to check out. It is a Sarah with periods in between. She calls it heart jumping activities. And I thought that was the coolest thing I'd ever heard. Heart jumping activities. I used to call it heart. It makes my heart sing. So heart songs. Um, but you should do those heart jumping activities. And crochet for me, it is a heart jumping activity. I love the creativity of the granny squares, but it's also a heart calming activity. Um, I think the heart jumping activity for me is probably painting. Um, Painting makes my heart sing and jump, and I love color. Color is my heart jumping activity. Color is my passion. And you really can't tell from this wall behind me because it's just looks really blah in this video. But it's a really light color blue called Cool Sheets. And the couch is like a cranberry red, which is, I wish it was bright red, but a red couch, can't argue with that. But my life is filled with color, and my artsy life is all about color. And I'm just so thankful for the ability to see color, the ability to uh, mix colors and manipulate colors, and I've studied color for pretty much my whole life. So I want to share so much with you, and I hope that you will join me in my artsy life. And I'm trying to keep this video short, but I like longer videos. I don't know if you do, but I don't like those like little 5-minute videos. They are not long enough for me. I want to sit with you. I want to sit with the person for um, a good 30 minutes and just feel like where I don't know. I mean, usually a lunch break for me, I sit and I eat, and it's about 30 minutes. So 30 minutes is a good length for a podcast. Now, if this is too long for you, then just cut me off. But I don't know that I'll do a lot of teaching on here, because I feel like I am more interested in maybe just sharing. And if I start to teach, well, I don't know. Okay, I'm going to tell you what I did. I bought 3 times. 3 times. I bought one of those things that you clip on the table and you can put your cell phone in it and you can do tutorials. 3 times. Now I'm hoping the third time's the charm because 2 times I sent 2 of those things back to Amazon because I kept thinking, this is ridiculous. I can't do a YouTube video. I cannot do a YouTube channel. I just can't. And I was so scared, but I've just ordered another one. Well, no, I just ordered another one last week. It's up on my table now. So I do want to do some painting tutorials because I feel um, well versed enough in painting that I feel like I've got something to share. Crochet, I've not been doing it very long, and there are so many podcasters out there that are so good at crocheting. So I don't know if I'll do tutorials with crochet. I may just share with you how I do things or, just talk about it. But I do, I would love to teach you how to do what I call whimsical watercolor blooms. And those are, um, those are little pieces of artwork that anybody really could do. And it's so meditative and so relaxing. So I would like to teach you that. And I know that if you're watching, I mean, if you're watching a crochet podcast, then you're probably not into art. And I could divide all this up and make separate channels, but that's too much work for me. So I hope that you'll get something out of my artsy life because it's a combination of a lot of things, but probably I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be. We'll just see. We'll just start and see. So this is podcast number 1. Um, I'll tell you a little more about myself. So I have a 27-year-old daughter. I think she's 27. And I have is she 28? I can't remember. Anyway, I have a daughter and I have a 19-month-old grandson they are my world. They are my absolute world. And um and I have a full-time job. So that's about it. What I really want to focus on is my crafty artsiness. So I'm gonna end this video, this very first video, and I may record a couple today because it's hard for me. I won't be able to do this if my husband's home because, oh my gosh, I would be so embarrassed to be sitting here talking to the computer. Um, so I'm going to record this and end it, and then I may do a few more things while I'm off today. What I'd like to do is try and post a video once a week. I think that's doable. He's gone a lot on Saturdays. He likes to go out to eat and read the paper in town. So, um, well, he likes to go out to eat in town and read the paper. So there'll be times when I'm alone and I can tape. So I hope you like this, and I hope it's not as fuzzy as it looks to me. And I hope I know how to do this YouTube thing, and I hope you have a wonderful Juneteenth. And I hope you're busy doing something artsy or crafty. Thanks for watching. I hope you subscribe and follow my journey. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Thanks. See you later.